Sorry, let me. Okay. So why am I doing this? Why am I doing this thing that I'm doing? Basically, I've seen quite a lot of things when people come around with challenges, free client, paid client, at church level, at professional level. And I discovered that the more information people have, the better it is for their family, the better it is for their family. And when you don't have enough information, there's going to be a problem. Even when they have enough information, if they do not deploy the information will remain at information level. It will not get to the point of becoming knowledge that can provide understanding, and the understanding might not give them the opportunity to exhibit wisdom when it is required. So we keep doing this thing over and over again, different topics, so that people can learn. There was time we did something on postpartum depression. There was time we've done quite a lot of things about family. So this one we're doing today came from the backdrop of several experiences in the counseling room and also in the church. A whole lot of people, when they are approaching 50, you know, there's this thing they call midlife crisis. It's been there in people's head, midlife crisis. Even before the crisis come, people are already becoming very critical. And so when people now cross to 50, other issues start coming, and then they start, exhibiting all manner of things. But the one I want to bring out today is what happens in the bedroom. The condition of the bedroom from when you got married and you are just 28 or 30 is not the same condition by the time you are going to be 50, 55, 60. A whole lot of things will have encroached. But how do we maintain the sanctity of marriage? How do we maintain the sanctity of marriage even at that point? How do we continually maintain sanctity of marriage and still ensure that the bedroom aspect of our life is not mortgaged because we are growing or because we do not understand what it entails to grow to 50 or beyond? Some people ask me, we are not up to 50, can we? I say, please come. Let's have a very healthy discussion, so that when we have such discussion, it will be easy for us to bring in solution. So that's the backdrop. So I have my guests are here. I'm going to play a bit of music for like a few seconds, and then I will introduce my guests one after the other. Okay. All right. I'm back. So today I have three persons that will be discussing. We all have the right to participate. In fact, I want us to participate in this. When you have a question, please let's know. You can put it in the chat box, or you can raise your hand when the time comes. And please ensure that there's no noise in your background so that we can hear you very well. All right, so I have 3 persons here today. I have Dr. Pamela Udoka. I met her when we were doing our election at the Nigerian Psychological Association, and we later met in person in Abuja. And then I thought we also saw during the Nigerian Clinical Psychologists conference also in Abuja. But she's a person that very passionate, very, very passionate about what we are doing today, because she's a sex expert. Yes, she's a sex therapist. She's a clinical psychologist, and she's a relationship expert too. So she has all those things put together in her, and she has done this. She's not doing this just only in Nigeria. She has been able to cut her teeth in a whole lot of spaces, and that is why I know that it's going to be good to have her here today, because we're going to look at different aspects of sexuality when it comes to marriage or us as human beings. So Dr. Pamela Udoka is here today, and I've invited her because I know there's a whole lot that she's going to release today. A whole lot. Just let's calm down. Let's calm down. She's there. All right. So Dr. Pamela, you're welcome. Good morning. God bless you. Glad to have you here. So next I have is Dr. Levin Damisa. Dr. Damisa is a medical doctor, and he's also a pastor. So we're bringing different dimensions to this today, because when it comes to sex or bedroom, some pastors would label people like us as souls are perishing. You are talking about sex, forgetting that the souls that are perishing in the bedroom are probably more than the one perishing or using marijuana or whatever. A whole lot of marriages are dying, and we still come to church on Sunday and shout hallelujah and we carry Bible. So we are going to bring different dimensions to it. So Dr. Damisa is a pastor and is also a medical practitioner. We've been around for a long time, and he has quite a lot of things to share, a lot of things. So we are in good hands. We are in good hands today. Dr. Damisa, you are welcome. Thank you so much. All right. I throw a salute. My third guest is yes, you can see Baba K. His name is Kolawole Oyeyemi. He's a pastor, and he's a big guy in the business sector, especially in telecom. He's a big guy. If you mention Baba K, mention Kolawole Oyeyemi at telecom spaces. By the time you ask 2 or 3 persons, they will tell you, oh yes, I know him. So he has cut his teeth in that area, and he's also a pastor. And see, this person I'm bringing a pastor that open-minded pastor. It's not, you know, I once had a pastor preach when I was growing up. I'm still growing. And the pastor said, some people, he said that in Yoruba. I will say it and I will explain. He said, àwọn kan nínú yín, ẹ máa báyàwó yín sùn lẹ́ẹ̀mẹ́ta lẹ́ẹ̀mẹ́rin nínú ọ̀sẹ̀, àgbèrè gbéyàwó nìyẹn. Meaning some of you will be sleeping with your wife 3-4 times in a week. That is adultery in marriage. I heard it. I was not told. Those kind of pastors are the ones that are creating problem for us today. A lot of problems that are created today came from the pulpit. We are not allowed to talk about sex on the pulpit in the church. We say, no. Where else can we say it, if not from the place where people have attached authority to? So the pastors that are here today are not the kind of pastor that I just mentioned that said, if you are sleeping with your wife 2 or 3 times a week, you are committing adultery inside marriage. And where did that come from, for God's sake? So today, and I'm so glad to have Dr. Kunle Rabiu here. Dr. Rabiu and I served together in Owerri in 1992, and he's in UK. He's also a pastor and he's a medical practitioner. So I have good hands. Yes, I can see Pastor Kunle Adewale here also. I can see a whole lot of people here today, yes. And I can see Modipo Osho here, Zona Mommy, a lot of people. So we're going to have a very good discussion today, and I want us to Tunde Lawani from KB. Thank you so much. We're going to have a whole lot of discussion today. Yes, Dr. Pamela, you're welcome. Good morning, good morning. All right, good to have you. All right, so I've given a preamble, the reason why we're doing this, basically because we need to pass information to people, correct information, and then solution. And if you need a sex therapist, there's one in the house. It's not free, but you will get solution. Sure. And let us also say here that not all of us pastors have the skills to counsel. Not all of us have skills to counsel. So when you have challenges in an area that is outside spiritual, look for professionals. I don't know how many of us came across the short video clip by Pastor Olumide Emmanuel that went viral. That is what people like us have been saying for years. Your pastor does not mean you can counsel very well. No, they are professionals. All right, so if you have sexual challenges, your pastor might not be the best place. Your pastor will pray, yes, you need therapy. So we have a sex therapist here. All right, so without much ado, I'd like to, Pastor, okay, can you show your face so that I know all my guests are in situ? They're already here. Good morning, good morning. Can you tilt your camera down a bit so I can see your face? Or you go close to your camera is, okay. Yeah, Dr. Damsa. Okay, good, awesome. All right, so I'm going to start from, excuse me. I need to start from, let me start from Dr. Pamela. Are there difference? Okay, let me start with this. What exactly are the roles of sex in marriage? What are the roles? I'm going to ask all of us this question. Then there's some questions that when somebody asks, you know, so unmute yourself, ma. All right. What exactly are the roles?
Yes, I've done
sex?
That. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning and good evening, I must add, because I know some people are joining us from outside Nigeria, outside the continent. So hello, everyone.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you very much, Dr. Jeff. Thank you so much for this opportunity. It's a privilege to talk or speak about sex in relationships and marriages on any platform. So I consider it an honor for you to even ask me. And I remember when you said this, I said, oh, it's my honor, okay? Because I believe we have to save marriages. I'll answer your question, but let me say this first. I like your preamble when you mentioned my pastors. I remember a pastor, in fact, a GO, because he owned the church. Please permit me to just share this so you can give us some background, further background. Before we moved back into Catholic Church, because my husband was born Catholic, we used to worship in Pentecostal churches. So worshiping in this church, I won't mention the name, I won't mention the pastor's name, but he was a GO, and I was close, we're close to church hierarchy because, we're church workers. Then the man had some issues with infidelity. And I went to tell him, I said that he shouldn't do this. He should do this with his wife, instead of, going off, you understand? And he said his wife does not satisfy him in bed. That was his excuse. Now, there are people you cannot say certain things to. This was a mommy GO, because the husband was the founder of the church. So I gave her a book to read. And days later, the husband called her and called me and said, and asked her if she has read the book. So I said, Daddy, what's your own problem with the book I gave her to read? She said, no, that if she has read the book, that he will know because he has read the book. So the woman now said, Pame, it is well. And the man said, and I want to say exactly what he said in Yoruba. Ko well, please pardon my Yoruba pronunciation. Ko well and koko. Pamela Niko Damilong, it is well. Did you get that?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a pastor or the highest hierarchy in terms of the pastoral cadre in that church. I say that to say this. A man is a man, a biological man. Don't deny him biological needs by covering them up with spiritual needs. because you are in church. Sex plays an important role in marriages. People have asked, is sex food? Sex is not food. You have food. Sex is sex. Sex is needed in marriages the way you need oxygen to live. So anyone who is brushing sex aside or sweeping it under the carpet, you are just extending the doomsday. I tell my clients, you are behaving, your action is like a den gun. You keep pushing the powder in. One day it will explode. So once we understand this, we can navigate sexual intercourse with that mindset. So sex plays an important role in marriages.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, Dr. Damisa, what is the role of sex in marriage?
All right. Good morning. Can we hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. All right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good morning, Dr. Pamela. Nice meeting you. I could see the frankness. I could see the passion, at the same time the pain. I'm trained to read body languages, so I could see the pain in that with that couple, and it's a privilege being asked to join this season panelist. Different definition. What is food? What is food? Is sex food? I know that question has been a debate. If sex is food, well, sex is not food, but sex is also food. That is the ambiguity of sex. In clinical medicine, when we are counseling or when we are doing what we call clerking, and we do ask people appetite, because one of the cardinal signs or symptom depression, it's what we call in the fall. And so when we are asking for appetite, we are trained back then as young dogs, you must differentiate the appetite. So even now, when I'm clerking my patient, I still ask them, do you have appetite for food and sex? Because they all come with drive. They all come with, as you ask, there's an hunger center in the brain. That is why we tend to discourage the use of pills as weight watching, because those drugs, what they do is to suppress the hunger part in the brain so that you don't get, then you get easy satiety, easy feeling. So the same way, where sex, there's a part in, so sex is hunger for sex. So when we use hunger, it means that sex actually be food. Now, coming to the question that our moderator distinguished, I call him is a combo, because Pastor Jeff is a psychologist, he's a pastor, he's a family coach, is a whole lot wrapped in one. When you talk about God's treasure in heading, Pastor Jeff is an epitome of that. Now, sex played the role of companionship, the companionship role. Sex also played the role of procreation. I had a young couple, we were counseling, they were having issue. And I told the young man that you need to understand the 6 pillars of penis, the 6 P's of penis. That when you understand that, you're now beginning to understand the role of a man. And I said the penis is for procreation, the penis is for priesthood, protection, priesthood, protection, pastor, prophet, provider, and protector. And that for a man to be a complete man, you need to manifest in those 6 to 7 pillars of P. So in that context, one role of sex is that procreation. And that seems to be dominant in early marriage, procreation. Now, when we start having crises in sex in marriage, it's because people limit the man or the penis to the procreative value of penis. The other ones are left untouched or undeveloped. And that is part of the genesis of marital crisis later in years. Another issue, another role of sex, I'm just because I know that we have a lot of speakers on board. Another role of sex in marriage is actually an antihypertensive. I'll be very careful here. Antihypertensive, in quotes, is a tension reliever, because during sex, especially when you have a pleasurable sex with your partner, with your wife, at the moment of orgasm, at the moment of ecstasy, some chemicals are released, which you call the happy hormones, the endorphins. And those endorphins, they have been known to be what you call vasodilators. They dilate the blood vessels. And when they dilate the blood vessels, what you call peripheral, I'm trying to be careful with medical terms, peripheral resistance reduces. That means blood pressure also comes down. So, to that extent, we can say sex is an antihypertensive. So, basically, the role of sex in marriage is companionship, procreation, joyful moments, and also, well, I know Pastor Jeff will fought this to a point. Sex is also crisis resolutor. You know, sex has been used to resolve crisis, but we do say that makeup sex should not be a replacement for practical confrontation of issues. That's why I said Pastor Jeff may object to some extent, but now I'm quickly qualifying it.
Yes. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, so sex can be a crisis resolutor at the same time, but it shouldn't be the first line and the last line. Rather, it should be part of the process.
Exactly.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for that. I hope we are all together, we are listening to this, so we can make your notes. So you said there are 6 P's of the penis. So every man
are taking notes, so
me, I'm taking, we have to take notes. It's even recorded, so we're recording it. So men and women should understand the 6 P's of penis, so that we will not just stay on one lane. It's a 6-lane stuff. All right. Yes, Baba K. Yes, Pastor Kola, can you come up? You have something to add to this, yes.
Well, I've just been learning all this while. Good morning, everybody, and it's a pleasure and a privilege to be here. For me, the last 2 speakers have expanded my vocabulary when it comes to the area of sex. And so when you ask what the role of sex is, I think a layman like me can't add much to what they've said. The only thing I can say is that if there is no sex in a relationship, it's symptomatic of a whole lot of things that are either dying or are dead. Okay, the moment you do not have desire towards one another, the moment you become almost automatic in your relationship, the moment nothing excites you towards one another, then for me, there are bigger issues, bigger problems down the line. And so if you don't watch it from that point on, then you may actually, it's a signaling to say that relationship is on its way down. And so that's the little I can add to the very deep definitions and explanations I've heard this morning. Thank you very much to Dr. and Pamela. I mean, I've been educated this morning, okay? But
all right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate that. And I'm so glad that we have people here who, yes, there's Dr. Afolabi is also trying to join from Ibadan. It's also a pastor. He's a general overseer. So I'm glad to have people like this here. And this general overseer learns a lot. He has learned so much. He has attended my training. He wants to understand so that he does not push the wrong thing to his congregation. He's trying to join now. All right, so next question. Are there significant differences in the sexual expressions or libido of men and women? We are focusing on people who are 50 and above, but that problem does not happen at 50. It's a build-up. So what exactly are there significant differences between the sexual expression and libido of a man and of a woman? Pastor Afolabi, good morning. You are welcome. God bless you, sir.
Yeah, good morning, sir. It's nice to be with you.
We're happy to have you too. All right.
Yeah,
yes, Dr. Palm, I'll start from you, ma'am. Are there significant differences?
Yes, I would like to take us back, from these 50s to let me say childhood.
Childhood.
Okay. Good. Yes, because like Riley said, things don't happen when we are 50. It starts from beginning. Those differences, we like to look at them as gender-based. So we're not going to compare male, whether it's same for men and for women. No, let's just leave that aside.
All right.
When we're talking about libido, first of all, like Dr. Levin said about clacking, when we are assessing, when we're a kind of assessment, and we're doing what we call intake interview, just like they do clacking, we ask questions like, how were you introduced to sex? What was your first sexual experience? Things like, what do you know about sex? What have you heard about sex? Because all these things have implications for how you navigate sex as an adult. If you grew up knowing sex as a bad thing, like I was born in Cameroon, I knew sex as a bad thing. It was so bad that even when you hear that maybe Peter and Mary were caught doing bad thing, nobody will imagine that, okay, maybe they were stealing or maybe they were fighting. We just knew that they were having sex. As I am till date, nobody has explained to me why sex is a bad thing or why it was called bad thing. So imagine somebody growing up with that mindset that sex is a bad thing. And then you now get into a marriage with that same mindset that, oh, sex is a bad thing. And maybe for me as a woman, and that's how I grew up. And then my husband didn't grow up like that. Definitely the way I would offer myself to him, the way I want to receive him will be different, will be limited. And then also this, in fact, I learned something from my client I was having a session with yesterday. He told me something about purity culture. You know, I knew, I was explaining to him or to his partner about how this man is not navigating sex properly because of his background, of his religious background. Sex is bad. You're not supposed to have it. When you have orgasm, you know, it's a sin, when you know, things like that. So he can't navigate. So definitely, if one of the partners has that kind of background, his or her libido will be limited compared to the other person.
Yeah.
Are you following me?
Yes, yes.
Now, as you grow up, as you navigate in marriage, certain issues might come up to make a partner's libido to drop. Let me start with the woman. During pregnancy, after childbirth, the hormones might drop, and then she needs support for with the baby. She's not getting, there's no spousal support. You know, that's why some cultures have what we call omugo, you know, because they understand that the woman needs help during that period. Now imagine a woman who doesn't have that. Yes, imagine a woman who doesn't have that kind of support, and then her husband, who didn't pass through what she has just gone through, wants to demand for sex. Definitely, she will not be at that stage or to offer sex, you know, to him, because the libido has dropped. When we're talking about libido, we're talking about sexual desire. The desire for sex has dropped. You know, she won't be able to offer. And then also a woman who, even a man who had experienced sexual abuse or sexual molestation growing up, or even as adults, the sexual desire will not be at the same level as somebody who didn't experience any of this. You understand? So for us to compare, okay, talking about men, a man who has some medical issues, the doctor will bear witness that if the man, due to some factors, environmental factors, medical factors, and stuff like that, has erectile dysfunction, you will not expect his desire for sex to be high. You understand? So we have to weigh a lot of factors before we now say, oh, there's a difference. What causes those? There are differences, but why are there differences? We expected that once we want to have sex, we follow the stages of sexual intercourse. You know, so there must be a desire. That desire leads to arousal. You must desire a partner, leads to arousal. We're talking about arousal. You're talking about erection and lubrication for the man and the woman before we go to penetrative sex, before we go to orgasm. Now, it doesn't just work like that. Sometimes you will desire and there's no arousal. Because
NEPA will take light.
NEPA won't take light.
I think NEPA will take light.
Exactly. So, you know, so definitely the libido will drop. And of course, if you don't have erection, you cannot attain one or maintain one for sexual intercourse. You can penetrate. or you penetrate and then the NEPA gives you half current, and all those kind of things. Definitely there won't be orgasm, So that's why when it comes to sex, when it comes to sexual desire, there are a lot of factors that will have to be weighed to understand for the male and for the female.
All right.
I'll stop there for now.
Thank you very much. Dr. Damiso. Yes.
Yes.
Anything to add? Something to add, sir?
So which of the aspect now? Because she touched a lot of things.
Yes, differences. She tried not to talk about differences, just try to give a background of how, because it might be difficult, it might be unfair to start comparing if we do not understand the how a man and a woman respond to sex. Maybe you would like to just talk about the responses. Are there differences in the responses of men and of women? Sexual responses.
Yeah, I think she has touched a whole lot of aspect of it. The thing that we add is that I keep asking people what is the male and female sexual organs in some of my teachings or engagement, and people often come down with the penis and the vagina as the male and female sex organs. And I said no, that the male and female sex organ is one, and that is the brain. The brain controls a lot of things. Sex takes place in the brain before the act, and this aspect was aptly captured by Jesus Christ when he said, if a man lusts, if a man imagine in your heart, you've already. Jesus knew the cerebral component of sex. Jesus knew the mental component of sex before the erection takes place. So that's why he said, if a man look, then it's if you look at a woman lustfully, you are already committing adultery. So it tells us that it's actually is first of all a mental thing than a physical thing. That's why when I see pastors saying, if you're not slept with a woman, stand up. I keep laughing because they must have in Jesus' eye, if you have lost step before, you're as guilty as a man who was caught pants down. But the church has devised a means to great sin. That is one of the problems we have. Now, the issue of sex, libido drive for man and woman is in this light. The men tend to have what you call the light bulb phenomenon. The light bulb phenomenon, it's described as you on the bulb. For example, I'm in my room now. I don't know if you can appreciate it. If I off my light now, it's already off. If I on it now, it has come up. So men's sex is light bulb relationship. Now, for women, their own sexual relationship is described as hot iron, electric iron. When you press electric iron, it takes, in fact, when you plug electric iron, we have done it before, you can even use your hand to touch the surface, small. It takes time for the iron to heat up. Yeah. And then when you unplug the iron, it takes time. You can't unplug the iron and touch it immediately. Your hand will still be burnt. So yeah. So that is why the woman and the woman and the man sexual phases are different. So that of the woman tend to be a gradual elevation of a slope, while that of the man is very sudden. So I wish it's difficult to see my illustration. It's difficult,
Okay, we can see
that. Yes, that of the man, that of the woman is gradual. It takes time to rise. That of the man is like a
straight up
and down. So that is a man sexual phenomenon. So the frustration is that while the woman is still rising gradually, the man has peaked and he has come down. And the penis is so wonderful. The penis is one of the most wonderful creatures. Penis can have erection now. In the next 5 minutes, is as limp as if nothing ever happened.
Yes, so it's innocent.
Chop and clean out. But exactly. The woman who is aroused may take another 1 hour before she comes down. So all those biological differences are what leads to libido drive and libido fulfillment in a man and a woman. So based on biological system also, another factor is that women at that age, the way the light bulb phenomenon of men also is also underlying our response. A man can be angry with his wife and still have erection.
Yes, sir.
A man can be angry with his wife and can still have a wonderful sex and climax.
Yes, sir.
After the sex, we can discuss the matter later.
Innocent.
But for a woman, the matter has to be resolved.
First.
The ambience, a man can have, that's why you see people having a nightstand in the lift, because a man can have nightstand in the, before the first floor to 10th floor, a man can have penetration in the lift and box up and button up and zip up and move
Complete.
on. And move on. But a woman will feel violated because he found that, so the man, out of, even while there's quarrel, can still have erection. But a woman is conscious of the ambience, the squeaking bed, and our neighbors around, is the curtain down, is the light on.
Are the children sleeping?
Are the children sleeping? And if I go and check again, on their light, if they are sleeping, if they are deep sleep. And the man wants to get this done and move on. But the woman wants to be sure that everything is in order. So the point is that all this body makeup is what accounts for different libido drive between a man and a woman. Now, I don't have enough time to generate the graph to not see where there's a compromise. That's why women like foreplay. A woman likes foreplay of the man, so that he can take time to build up. Yes, so that at the time the woman is climaxing, the man is also climaxing. So when there's, and this can only be done by communication, and that is why we say that when there's no communication between a man and a woman, sex is hardly a thing of appeal. That's why I've seen women who says, I just open my leg for him, let him just do and go. That means in that case, it's no more love making, it's just mating. Just say you won't do now, do and go, because there's no communication. So all these account for different libido drive. And then Dr. Pamela mentioned disease component. And again, another challenge is that, sorry, I'm not talking too much.
Go on, sir.
Okay, another challenge is that at the age of 40, you start having midlife changes. Now, these midlife changes is more of the mind and also the body clock. At 40, the bodies are more like 6 p.m. in a 12-hour clock. At 40, the body's like at 6 o'clock. Now, somebody said, one of our teachers, respected teacher, says, at 40, 50, what will kill a man has already surfaced. At the age of 40, what will kill a man is already known. At that point, will it be diabetes? Will it be hypertension? Will it be this? Because at 50, which we are considering, some of these diseases are already manifesting. So they may start having diabetes, they may start having hypertension. I had a patient this week, we were discussing, I was asking of a sexual drive, and he said, doctor, I've been on hypertensive drugs since over 10, 15 years ago. I've been diabetic about 10 years ago. So basically, the medication of that man is going to affect his libido in the bedroom, no matter you look at it, because even if not medication, there's what we call autonomic neuropathy as a complication in diabetes. So that on its own will affect the innervation of the penis. So all these things, so that I don't talk too much, I can always come back, are things that underline different drive between a man and a woman in the bedroom. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So a lot of our questions have already been, the question I have here have been answered. So I'm going to go into the particular question now. So Pastor K.
Yes, sir.
Yes, as a pastor, how often do you?
In school, I've been in class all morning.
You're in class. Good. This question, you are not in class in this question. As a pastor, and I'm going to ask Pastor Sam Afolabi that question too, before I now throw it back to Dr. Pamela. In fact, everybody on this, all of you are doctor today. That's interesting. Okay, as a pastor, out of 10 cases that you have couples coming to you, how many of them in the average are basically about sex? And what do you think are the main challenges? Let me run the question again.
Okay.
As a pastor, on the average, if you look at the counseling cases that people bring to you, how many of them are about these bedroom matters? And what are the key things that runs across those couples? I'm going to ask Pastor Afolabi the same question. So get ready, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. And again, I must say it's been a very, very educating morning for me. I'm learning a lot thanks to the two docs who have been doing some fantastic work on this. Your question is a bit tough, okay? You have a lot of people, because of the socio-economic environment that you have and family problems, you have a lot of people who come for counseling in that area. But when it comes to the issue of bedroom matters, okay, I think the biggest issue I've found in counseling is ignorance.
Ignorance.
Okay, there's a lot of what I call traditional carryovers. This was the way it was with my father. It was the way it was with parents' attitude. And then, like Dr. Pamela mentioned before, this kind of sacredness we put around the subject of sex. It's almost a taboo. It's something you don't discuss. I remember a particular year that I was invited to a particular church. I also will not mention. They were doing a family live conference, and I was meant to speak to them, and I gave them a case study. Okay, and the case study was it was a real life case study that I just took the details of a pastor whose wife was impregnated by a member of the leadership team.
Excellent.
Okay, and became a big crisis. And
powerful discipleship.
and they were good. The church went against the woman, and the woman said, "Hey, take it easy with me. Before you crucify me, can you please find out what's been going on in our home?" Ask him when last, and the conversation became very, very messy. Now, when I introduced that case study to the church, I broke the group into two. So I had the wives on one side, I had the husbands on one side. And then I gave them the case study, and they were debating. Initially there was all this kind of very conservative approach and attitude to things. So I was walking, through the groups and just trying to encourage them to speak. And then gradually they began to open up. Okay. And a lot of funny things happened. Okay. I remember a particular woman that was saying, we have to be very, she used an expression, almost like we need to recognize our men are busy, they're hardworking, and therefore we, mustn't demand for sex and all that stuff. We have cases of people who say that they cannot have sex when the light is on, the light has to be off. By the time the voices of the women were up and the men were hearing, then all of a sudden some strange things began to happen. The men began to answer the women across the divide, okay? And it became a very, the pastor was feeling embarrassed. I'm sure he was wondering what kind of a pastor he invited to come and minister in his church. But what then happened was that for the first time, a lot of women spoke up. And it was clear that there were issues that they were just using church, and religion to cover up, make it look as if everything was okay. There was one that was very interesting. Unfortunately for the couple, the woman was sitting close to the edge and the husband was sitting close to the edge, so they were close to one another. And they were talking about, okay, like what Doc was saying, that women is a slow start and all that, then you need to create the ambience, prepare her and all that stuff. And then she said that, no, the husband says, but I take my wife out, we go or whatever. And the woman shouted across the group. He said, he's taking me to Mr. Biggs, what they call taking out. And it was quite hilarious. But what came through was that we cover a lot of things, okay, under religious, canopies that are ultimately unhealthy for the couple. Number two is also the fact that there's this taboo around the conversation around sex in church that we don't talk about. And so underlining what I've found in counseling is actually gross ignorance, and this, what I call the evil of religion, in terms of, oh, don't discuss it, don't talk about it, how can you say this? It was so bad that some couples can't walk naked around one another. Okay, it's seen as it's not holy.
Kana.
Yeah,
Kana.
and that's the first thing. So ignorance. Then the ignorance also got to the point of some things that the docs have mentioned in terms of the man being like a switch. Okay, a particular lady said to me that, my husband, once he has a hard-on, he wants to get down. That he doesn't understand that he's too military in his orientation. Everything must be now. And that she ends up being bruised, that she's not enjoying it. And so I had to sit both of them down and, talk and all that. So ultimately what I've found are those two pillars: gross ignorance on one side, okay, and these, taboo kind of thing around the conversations around it. And I believe that a lot of pastors and ministries and ministers need to be a lot more open-minded. It's a big elephant in the room when you talk about marriage, and we shouldn't shy away from it. We should talk about it and then encourage people to seek for knowledge. And last thing I'd like to say in this wise is also what you mentioned to before, that pastors are not counselors, okay? And the earlier we recognize that truth, the better for people that we have been privileged to lead. I mean, you will know that I've referred quite a number of people to you, because once I listen to you, I will recognize whether this is a spiritual issue or this is a counseling issue. And I'll tell you, I'm not an expert, okay? But I know somebody who's an expert. So go talk to the person. We'll be praying along, but this requires some technicalities that I'm not equipped for. And I won't say because I'm a pastor, then I must be equipped in every area. Yeah, I'll have some areas where, I have some expertise, but I shouldn't be expected to be an expert in everything. So I believe that will help us to help, our people to seek for knowledge, especially people you can trust, people you can vouch for, people who have experience and who have helped other people. That's the way we can help people that we lead. I mean, that's what I find: ignorance and this issue about, taboo about talking about sex and all of that. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Yes, Dr. Sam Afolabi is the General Overseer of our CAC. He will introduce himself. We knew each other a long time ago, so I'd like him to just talk and follow up on what Pastor K has mentioned. Yes, sir. You're welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much, Pastor Jeff, Dr. Jeff. It's my pleasure to be with you in this discussion. I hope everybody can hear me.
Yes, yes, we can.
Interestingly, this issue of discussion is very coincidental because I've gone unconventional about it. In the radio program that I host every week, for the past 7 weeks, I've been discussing about sexual fulfillment in marriage, and I've been down to heart. It's only that I've not been graphic about it, and the radio station has allowed me to go to that level. So I reserve the details. There are things I don't tell people on here, but this is interestingly because our society is becoming more enlightened. We are giving them new orientation. So I want to agree with all the last speaker has said about the cases we have had in marital counseling. In my own years of marital counseling, I've come to discover that out of every 10, 6 to 7 cases have been on the issue of sex, 6 to 7. And until you come to dig deep and deeper, they will be glossing around it. They will not want to, come out straight because of the negative mindset. By the time you see a man, stammering and, not going directly, not going straight, you know that there's something underneath. Then you want to ask, what exactly is the issue? Then I just ask directly, tell me about your sexual life. Tell me about this. These days, in the past 10 years, when women come to me to complain that their husbands are going into extramarital affairs, the first thing I ask is that, tell me the state of your marital, tell me yes, the bedroom affairs. I want to know whether you are not the one that has pushed the man outside. And like it has been said, or the man pushed himself. Do you know, I've seen a pastors, not one, not two, who came to me. There was a pastor that called his wife together with me and my wife, and he told us in the presence of his wife, say, woman, I'm going to look for another woman, and I will tell God that you are the one that pushed me outside. I said, wow. Then I got this book by Lahaye, The Sexual Art. I gave it to the woman. I said, go and read this book and work on it. So I want to agree also that the issue of ignorance, most men are ignorant about the sexual lives of women and vice versa. Our women are ignorant about the sexual lives, what triggers libido in men, and how women respond to sex. then this idea of taboo myths that were built around the issue of sex, like my pastor said, I agree 100%. But you discover that some men are being enlightened, but they are rigid, they are stubborn. They don't want to change. They don't want to learn. And the church has been unnecessarily secretive about this issue.
Yeah.
It is high time that the church should speak up. So I don't want to say much.
Yes.
I agree.
Thank you, sir.
By the last speakers.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. So, Dr. Pamela, I'm coming to you. Now, what led to this discussion, when I was speaking with you? We have seen different situations of women using Omugo as a cover-up to leave Oga alone in the court. I mean, we have cases. We have cases of those who are not qualified for Omugo yet, but as soon as they cross that 50, they shut down the door to Jerusalem and they give the key to somebody to go and hold. So the men, this is just what we have seen. It's not a one-sided thing, actually. But we have seen so many men now who are Christian men, sir. Christian men now, talking about Christian men, whose wife has shut the door to Jerusalem, and because they know they are not going to go out. So there's a frustration. You are not going to go and date another woman. You are not going to go and be using soap to go and do yourself in the bedroom, and you are stuck, so to say, with this person. Have you experienced that in your counseling room? And what do you think could be done?
In fact, you see all these pastors you brought here, I'm clapping for them like this. In fact, I'm doing hand. You know, my husband should have been on this call. So if he's not yet here, he was supposed to have a meeting. So I'll tell him that I have 3 more men that I respect and I love when it comes to sexual issues. Okay, I like the way they are speaking. So, Pastor Dr. Jeff, thank you very much for your panel. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
I in fact, somebody said about Pashala, I'm literally jumping out of my chair in excitement. Thank you so much. The thing is this, even before the Omugo stage, I'm having clients who are shutting down, in fact, who have closed the door to Jerusalem, or they left it partially open.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand? So a lot of issues. And like Pastor Falabi said, it is just recently that I can be consulted and I'm told plain blank that the issue is sex. Most times when couples come for marital conflict issues, they don't say sex until you start probing and you end up that way. You know? And I said, communication, one of us here has mentioned communication. If you don't communicate well, if your communication pattern is poor, I will tell you for free that your sexual life can't be interesting. Okay? Now, before you get to the Omugo stage, how did you build your marriage? How did you build the bond? Mm-hmm. I think we are in the spirit here because I just posted something on my Instagram handle as Expert Doctor this morning about spouses not depriving each other of sex. That deprivation does not happen when you're in your 50s. It's at the early stage, you have to build that bond. I have this illustration where I tell people, even if you have children, don't let the child stay in between you in the bed. The child has a cot. Let the child go and sleep there, because by the time the child gets used to your bed, the child will not move back to the cot, and you people cannot sleep in the child's cot. Let the child sleep in the cot, because by the time you put the child here, after some time the child becomes this and pushes you and your spouse apart. By the time the children leave home and you experience what we call empty nest, you cannot come back, you cannot close that gap again.
Your hand is not leaking, yeah.
Yes. So when you are at this stage and the children who have left home now have children and mommy has to go for Omugo, there's a gap already. Do you understand?
Yeah, yeah.
But if that sexual bond, that relationship bond had been built, by the time the wife is going for Omugo, even if she's sleeping on a 6x6 plank, daddy will accompany. Or she will be telling the children, see, I can't stay here for 3 months. my husband is waiting. You know, there will be that sense of responsibility that you have a husband to go to. Women who go for Omogo and stay there for months and years, there is no marital bond to go back to. That's why they are enjoying the new abode they are in. You are in a space of another husband and wife, even though one of them is your child, living your own home. So your foundation, your sexual and relationship foundation and marital foundation was faulty in the first place. So we have to build that bond. Now, not all of us here are above 50. Some of us are younger. So if you have the opportunity, start reconstructing now. And if you are 50 and you find yourself, or above 50, and you find yourself in that stage where you're beginning to shut down the door, look at, examine yourself. When you come for my therapy session, that's a series of questions we ask that you will provide answers to, which will now guide the therapy sessions. Okay, so
right.
There are reasons why that door can be shut. Sometimes some women shut it out of punitive measure. They want to punish the man. Or the man, so some men, let's be factual. Some men don't even know how to have sexual intercourse. They don't even know. They just think sex is about penis and vagina. Like my brother said, he put on the switch, he has an erection, he goes in and comes out. No. If we understand that the woman's body needs to, this about that past my neighbor generator, you have to drag it before it starts. It's not the switch that just put on. If they understand that, they'll know that, yes, this foreplay is important. Some men say they just know foreplay. They don't even know the erogenous zones. They don't know how to touch a woman to elicit sexual excitement. And I tell men, don't use the hairstyle of Bola to bab Bimpe. No, understand Bimpe's body. Understand what turns Bimpe on. Is it her left toe? Is it her right ear? Is it the back of her neck? There are specific parts of the body that elicit sexual pleasure, generally. But each woman is different. Yes, learn to touch. And there is assumption that, if you are circumcised or genitally mutilated, you can't enjoy sex. It's wrong. There are other parts of the body apart from the clit that you can touch. So if you understand this aspect, by the time you now get to the 50s and over 50s, you still have something that you have built that you can still fall back on. So the door won't be just shut because that's an excuse. I'm 50. And this, for your information, I'm 58.
And firing.
And full time.
Full throttle.
Full yes. So women there's no excuse a woman can give me. You have issues, there are solutions to it. You can resolve them. So we can enjoy this because it is till death do us part. And that till death is, we expect that when we are old and gray, when all we can just you have energy for is just to hold each other's hands or just to cuddle. But don't give me an excuse that, because you are 30, because you are 40, because you are this, you are shutting down the door of Jerusalem. No, okay? But please hold that key. It's needed. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. Before I go to Dr. Damisa, there was a class you had last year called Erection Correction Class. When are you going to hold the next one? Because I know some men actually have met women who are ready, but they are men. They didn't shut down purposely. They say they are busy, and by the time they have become a 50-second man and all those things. Maybe this erection correction class, if we have people that can subscribe to that, I will link you. I will try and so that men too, because a lot of time we say women are shutting down because maybe the population of women that are shutting Jerusalem door are more, but there are also some men that have also shut Jerusalem door. There might not be plenty, but the effect can be a bit devastating also for the women. So I just want to mention to all of you that Dr. Pamela holds a class called Erection Correction Class, where we correct erection. So
you see, yeah. Let me just give a brief background to that. You see, I tell men that they own penises, but I know a lot more about male penis than some of the men who own their penises. Do you understand? Because Some men do not even know that what gives them erection is blood. What makes their erection to be turgid is blood. Now you now see a man who is hypertensive, who is on medication. Thank God there's a medical doctor here, who is on medication that suppresses blood pressure. And of course, high blood pressure has implication for erectile dysfunction. Now, when you take your medication, it suppresses your blood, lowers the quantity of blood that goes into your penis. Same man will now go and buy a sexual enhancers like Viagra. And the job of this Viagra is to dilate your blood vessels, pump blood forcefully, and give you an erection. Is that not just calling for a death sentence? Because you are confusing your heart. What I do is, what is giving you what is making you to be hypertensive? We'll now examine the factors. Is it environmental factors? Is it a marital conflict in your home? So when we examine all those factors, medical, psychological, everything, then we'll now know how to correct your erection. After that, we'll not even give you guides on how to even navigate sexual intercourse. It's not just having a penis and putting it in the vagina. No, that's not it. But we'll have another session towards the end of the year. I'll let you know. So you tell your people.
All right. So you can configure your mind to attend that class. All right. So, okay, someone is sending a question. Say, I'm receiving education. Please, how about age difference? We'll come to that question later. But let me, Dr. Damisa, looking at the church setting, sir. Are you with me, sir?
I'm with you.
Okay. Yes, sir. Looking at the church setting, you're also a pastor, and I believe you've had, in fact, you're a pastor, you're a medical doctor, you have seen quite a whole lot. So how can we help our people? I'm jumping from sending that question around to everybody now. How can we help our people who are shutting down Jerusalem as a male or Jerusalem as a female? How can we preach to them as a pastor? How can we encourage them as a medical doctor?
Okay. Then there's, thank you very much. There's a question I saw just now before we lose that question. Somebody said, Naomi said, after childbirth, what can a woman do to bring back the libido? So I think we can just note that
Please
question
take
down
it.
before,
yes, you can even take it. You can use it to, because, yes.
Okay. All right. After childbirth, what can a woman do to bring back libido? Well, I don't know what informed this question. First of all, this question is coming as if childbirth kills libido. No, childbirth does not kill libido. How do we know? Most women in labor, they always cry, I will not come here again. Oh, this man will go punish you. Those same women, often
in the
next 18 months, they are back to labor
to give birth again.
To give birth again. So childbirth does not kill libido. However, we know that a traumatic childbirth can shut down one's brain mentally, one's sexual life mentally. And we have also seen that a badly repaired episiotomy, because childbirth, first-timers tend to have episiotomy to widen to help. Episiotomy is just the assisted delivery. I mean, so some people, if the episiotomy is badly repaired and then it's causing too much pain, or so, it can lead to discouragement of sex. So basically, childbirth does not kill libido. However, some women have been known that after childbirth, they put so much attention on the baby that they forget the husband. We used to have a joke in medical school that who owns the breast? The man, is it the husband or the man? Baby. Who owns the breast? The baby. Say, well, it's democracy. The milk is for the baby, the breast is for the man. You know, so the milk is for the baby, the breast is for the man. The woman owns both the man and the baby. So women are very powerful. So basically, libido can also reduce if a woman stops taking care of herself. Some women believe that after childbirth, they don't need to take care of themselves. And some women also believe that erroneously, that once you've had a child, you have settled down, nothing to do again. No more. After all, I don't
So
born for them.
if they are giving birth to a male child.
I don't born for them. He can't send me go anywhere. They God no. In fact, I'm not. So they not find out that those things that they do before, no more makeup, no more beating, armpit is unshaven, pubic area on. So those things can actually kill. Those things can kill libido. In fact, there was a place we went recently. I saw a woman we were just discussing. When she told us she has 4 children, everybody looked at her and said, "What? You have 4 children?" Because, Bro Jeff, thank God for the anointing of the Holy Spirit. That girl is still very toastable. You know, she like a campus girl. Say 4 children, of course, decent, responsible lady. What I'm saying, in fact, is that for such a woman, the libido of the husband will be hitting the ceiling every day because childbirth has not condemned her to now look unkept. So those are silent issues that need to be looked into. Now, coming to your question, how can the church help in the area of libido, sex? The problem is that okay, thank you very much. I don't know if it's permitted to advertise. We do every Saturday. I have a Bible teaching platform every Saturday, 9 p.m. The Word with Levin. And like tonight by 9 p.m. we'll be on air. For the past 5 months, we'll be dealing with Christ Revelation using the book of John. There's a topic we treated last year. That topic we treated last year out of concern. And what was the topic? The silent noise of pastors. The silent noise of pastors. And I found out that part of the silent noise, just get the paradigm. I mean, the noise should be loud, but I'll call it silent noise because it's a noise only heard by them. So I want to extend it also to silent noise of Christian marriages. In that context, many marriages in Christian homes are suffering because of the don't say, don't ask. People come to church, dance, give offering, but at home, you know that all is not well. But I think in the last few years, the church is improving because before now, the church cannot have a sex talk on the altar. The church cannot invite a family coach to the altar. But I think the light is growing, and I thank God for Pastor Samuel Afolabi, who is already having a radio program teaching on sexual fulfillment for the past 7 to 8 weeks. That is just a testimony that the pulpit is becoming receptive of this matter, that sex may not make the home, sex is not everything in marriage, but sex affects every other thing in marriage. So what can the church do? The church will do more by encouraging open discussion. In my parish in Abuja here, we have a Aneda who handle family relationship. We had one section last quarter. We are trusting God for a new one again. We found out that these are issues that the church is already creating avenue. But unfortunately, some members are still fixated on not. I was teaching, a gift is a gift only when it is received. The church on its own is making effort, but some people don't want to hear. Some people's mind is already made up. As per this man, nothing good about him, and they shut down. And you found out that, like Bishop said, God give us brain to think. There are things that God will not do for you. If you have taught on forgiveness, you've been taught on important rule of sex, you've been taught on how to make your bedroom smell nice, how to wear good clothes at home. The pastor will not come and wear it for you in your bedroom. The pastor will not go and buy G-strings for you in your room, except the pastor want to see it. So you find out that members need to take advantage of the opportunities that the church is providing. That's on one side. Then for churches that are not doing enough, and I thank God for Pastor K, is it Pastor K now, Baba K, that not but pastors are not counselors. Well, I will put it this way, not all pastors are counselors, because some pastors are already professional counselors. Some, but not all pastors. Now, for the pastors who are not counselors, one thing they can do to help their members is to expose their congregation to trusted resource persons. I know some pastors are always scared of sheep stealing. You know, some pastors, when you invite them for your program, they will come, distribute flyers, distribute a complimentary card. raise offering, look for the men in the church who have money, and then they start calling them. So because of that, some people are always afraid of inviting other pastors. But these are strange pastors, is unethical. But pastors who are not gifted in area of counseling should be able to identify pastors who are gifted or resource persons who are gifted in this matter to address such issues, because not every matter needs prayers, but some need prayers, and some need training, some need teaching, some need you to coach them. Like I don't know who was that pastor who was illustrating something. The pastor says the wife of an engineer is not an engineer. The wife of an accountant is not an accountant. The wife of a doctor is not a doctor unless she also went to medical school. How come the wife of a pastor is a pastor by default? You know, how come the wife of a pastor become a pastor automatically? So you find out that people should understand their areas of strength. People need to understand the areas of gifting so that members can be better helped. And again, one area that the church can also help is the area of referral. I was reading a book on counseling, and I found out that the American church, the American Christians, they make use of that system very well. They refer. They don't need to sit on every once they see a matter beyond them, they look for a specialist and refer. But in Nigeria, there's so much distrust in referring members to a pastor that can give help, because again, the pastor may steal your sheep. So these are the areas that people need to know that these are areas that people need to wake up to. So in summary, the church is doing much already, but we can do better. Areas that the church can also do more is to expose their congregation to qualified spirit-filled resource persons who can teach members practical approach to keeping the fire in the bedroom on. And then for the spiritual side, churches can also help in teaching on forgiveness, because some of the closure of door to Jerusalem is because of unresolved differences and spirit of unforgiveness from hurt 20 years ago, hurt of 10 years ago. So these are areas that the church need to do more. Thank you, and God bless you.
Okay, sorry. Thank you very much, Dr. Damisa. I'd like us to go into solution now because of our time. Pastor K, where are you? All right, so now I want us to address this. We have people who are over 50 in our church, or don't let's now bring it to like 40, 45 who are going through this. Is it ideal for us to have a special should I call it class, or should I call it seminar targeted at them? Because they won't, most of the time they will not come out. From my experience, the people that come out are people who are younger, who still think that we have something to do in sex. But those people are like 45 to 50, like we have said, what are we doing again? And what is remaining? So how do we help those people? This question will go around. How do we help those people that are 50? Don't forget that at that age, people think, there was a point that I said, Pamela, please listen to this. There was a point that I said, I don't want to cancel people that are more than 10 years in marriage again. Because people that give major problem are those people that are married for like 20, 25. It's like, what are you telling us? Don't worry, the journey is no longer as far as they have shut down so many things. As always said, no, you cannot do that. So you still have to involve us. So what can we do for people who are getting towards 50 and they're having challenges? There's a question here. Please hold on. Okay, Dr. Damisa, you said you did not touch the second part of the question. Which medical site or implication of shutting down Jerusalem door? Okay, we'll come back to that question.
Let him answer it so that the person can link whatever he said before.
Dr. Damisa, what are the medical side or implication of shutting the door of Jerusalem? And another question, let me read it too. What factors could make it? Hello? Okay. So talk the second part is what are the medical implications? I think Dr. Pamela mentioned it. Okay, maybe Dr. Damisa can just round up on that. What are the medical side or implication of shutting down the door of Jerusalem?
Okay. The medical side of shutting down, I mean, let's be open, because some are wondering what do you mean. Shutting down on sex is a symptom of a bigger problem. Because sex, it's, you know, God is so wonderful. It's a package. God is a wholesome package. So when a couple shut down on sex, it means that there are a lot of unresolved differences in that home already. And part of the implication is that there's already underlying tension, underlying current. And have you ever entered a home? Somebody said somewhere that if you enter a home where there's no peace, you will know. When you enter a home where harsh words have been spoken, even 3 hours earlier, when you enter that home, you will know. Why? Because the ambience is going to be toxic. The spiritual covering in that home is going to be porous. You will just feel emptiness in that home. So part of the implication is that it opens doorway for sicknesses. It opens doorway for hypertension, for ulcer, because one, there's tension. And when there's tension, there tends to be excessive acid build up in the body. And when there's excessive acid build up, ulcer can result from that. That is one. Secondly, like I said, that when you have sex is a stress buster. So when you don't have sex, you have stress build up. That's why people can, and when you have stress build up, it can lead to reduced immunity, making you vulnerable to other diseases. So there are many implications, of course, spiritual implications. And don't forget that I know that the audience is a mixed audience. Not everybody is a Christian, but you find out that for the believers here, or for the Christian, the Bible says if you have issue with the wife in your bedroom, your prayers are not going to be answered. So do you want to live a life without your prayer being answered? How do you survive in this country if your wife is not praying for you? I want Aja friend. He said, doctor, my job is to pray for my husband. I said, wow. She told me that about 10 years ago. I said, to Aja, pray for her husband is a divine instruction. So you can imagine if that same person say, this husband, you will not prosper. This husband, you will not do well. So you see many men struggling in life, whether Christian, whether Muslim, because their wife is very angry with them. So there are many areas, things that can happen in sex. Now, another thing again is that this other side, why do some people touch down? Because some are not enjoying sex. Some are also expressing pain during sex. They what they call dyspareunia. Dyspareunia is pain during sex. If you're experiencing dyspareunia, that is painful sex, you can see your gynecologist. It could be also a sign or a symptom of STD or polycystic infection, or maybe a hurt that has not been resolved in the head. That can also come. Some people have what they call premature ovarian failure, in which they enter menopause too early. When they enter menopause too early, the wetness around the vagina can go. That means the place becomes dry. So, and when you have dry vagina, sex becomes very, very painful. That can also make women to shut down. So, we need to look at the cause. Why do people shut down before looking at the implications? So we can carry on that topic after now. We can discuss. I can drop my hospital address here. Then the other question I'm seeing here is that what factors, sorry, it has gone up. Say what factors could make a spouse no longer want to kiss during foreplay? Could this be psychological as well? Yes. For example, if your spouse does not like garlic and ginger, and you are a garlic lover, then one person is already a turn-off. So if your spouse does not love ginger and you love ginger, then there's going to be a problem in kissing.
I'm a witness.
Yeah. If you don't brush your mouth, regularly, it's going to be a turn-off. So many things can be a turn-off. And you find out that kissing is an intimate part. In fact, the mouth has been classified a private part a long time ago. And for those who are still in doubt, if mouth is a private part, look at COVID-19. Every vital part is to be covered. The mouth was covered during the lockdown because the mouth is a vital part. And for those of us that also look at the Spanish female, the Spanish female football
FA president
on now, a wrong kiss has gotten somebody out of job.
plenty.
So kiss is a very vital part in sexual communication. So factors, hygiene. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. So Pastor K, I'm back to you. Then I'll go to Pastor Sam. Then I will round up. I'll start rounding up from Dr. Pamela because of our time. All right. So what can the church do to help those people of that category?
Okay. Thank you very much. I think the first thing to do is actually with the leadership of the church. Okay, you must be able to build trust, because we've all agreed that discussing sex is something that a lot of people find as taboo, find, very inconvenient to do. They're scared to share. They feel as if talking about sexual inadequacies is a reduction of their personality as a man, especially his macho image, or needs to be back in that, so he doesn't want to discuss. I think first thing we need to do is to and confidentiality. That, look, guys, whatever we discuss here, like they say, it's not for here. Whatever happens in
Vegas
stays there.
Whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Okay, so we first must build that trust. Okay, because there are a number of us who are wonderful people that what people discuss with us in private. Okay, when we get onto the altar and we forget that the spirit of the prophet is subject to the prophet, and we casually, use those examples, and you break trust. And once people feel that they can't trust you with information, they will shut down. No matter what you do, they won't talk to you. So I think first thing for pastors or leaders is to build that trust, to say, look, whatever you tell me stays with me. Okay. I try to do that in our church. That's why sometimes even when some of my people tell me something, and they expect me to even tell my wife, and I always say to them, you don't know your pastor. That if you want me to know, you better tell me yourself. Otherwise, except you tell him to tell me, then you will say, but you can talk to her. So we need to build that trust, okay? Number two is back to what we said before, to say, and I'm glad that Dr. Damisa corrected me, that okay, some pastors are trained counselors, okay? But there are some of us who are not trained counselors, and we shouldn't pretend to be trained counselors. So we need to organize programs where we can bring experts on subject matter to come and engage with our people, okay? And let's, people talk, seek counseling, and where they want to progress it beyond the general church, they can do a one-on-one, engagement with the counselors, okay? That's the second thing I'd like to talk about. The third thing we do in our church, we call it Open Day, okay? Open Day gives people the opportunity to speak, okay? We tell you, you don't need to raise your hand and collect the mic. Just write on a sheet of paper. Don't put your name, don't put anything about it, okay? And then drop in your friend bucket, all right? And then I have a responsibility as the head of the team to read each and every one and try to answer the questions I cannot answer. But the ones I can't answer that borders on this area, then I can separate and say, okay, we're going to have a special engagement for people you know yourself when you wrote this, and then get you to speak with experts. So bottom line for me is that we need to be open, all right? Let people feel comfortable to talk about sex, especially since you're talking about couples, you're talking about marriages, you're talking about sustainability of the home, okay? I think it's important that we do that. I think the last comment I like to make is more like, it's a bit tricky. It's more like an appeal, and maybe the experts will help here, okay? There are a whole lot of, how do I put it now? There are a lot of men, because when you're counseling people, you see some frustrations that you're wondering, how do you help this person, okay? Which is why experts are required. There are a lot of men who are either masturbating, as we speak right now, married men, okay, or who have girlfriends, and they come to a point where, Pastor, if you know you can't kill me, you won't kill me. I mean, I still had one just last week. The man who just, on a Friday, we just said the wife is going on the mountain, okay? But it's not going on any mountain. It's going to hole up somewhere, okay, with another woman. In fact, the woman is currently pregnant. Okay. Okay. And the issue is the fact that the woman has shut down, okay, and feels that this guy, your brother, they tire. I mean, do you want to kill me and all that stuff? And the man says he's tried and tried, and after a while he just says, okay, all right, since that's what you want, fine, okay. And he's taking care of himself on the other on another level. Now the problem there is those things have consequences, which ultimately may affect the family negatively. And how we manage that is still an area that maybe the experts will help us to. I'm supposed to be asking, but I'm also asking a question. Like I said, I also came today. But for me, that's one angle that I think we may need help out. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. I'd like to quickly respond to that. The family is there. I'm here, even though I'm in Abuja, she's in Lagos. She'll be in Lagos, man.
Yes, I am, but also work virtually. But I'm in Lagos, I live in Lagos.
Yeah. So, for example, I started training. I started a program training church counselors recently, and I focus on counselors that are already existing in the church, because apologies, I'm a pastor. I've been in church system for quite a long time. Some of the things that our church counselors are doing are not professional. They are advisors, and advising is different from counseling. So I started training people for professional counseling. At least I have, I can see like 3 or 4 persons who has attended that program who are here and whose skills have been improved. You understand? So those are things that I think church can also do, not just seminar. Seminar is good, but if you can build the capacity of your own people, then, and trust is ensured and confidentiality is well understood, a whole lot can be done. So I have some questions here. I want to throw them to Dr. Pamela and Dr. Damisa. But before then, I want Pastor Sam to add to what Pastor K have said. What can we do to help the people in the church? Because the truth is, there are so many challenges. If we face the church, me as a counselor or whatever, the issue in church, all of us here, we can't finish it. If we are all trained, and we say, okay, we only want to work with church people, we can't finish. There are plenty of things. So what can the church do? I know you are doing a whole lot of things on Lagelu Radio, Abi. Is Lagelu? It's Lagelu. Aha. Yes. What other things can we do for people? Yes, sir. Unmute, sir. Unmute.
All right, Pastor Jack, thank you so much. I appreciate all that has been said by Pastor K, and I agree with all he has said. I also heard that we have to start with the leadership of the church. We need to let the leadership of the church understand the silent pains of people who are passing through these challenges. Then the leadership of the church has to understand the importance of sexual fulfillment in marriage and the spillover effect on the church. When members are not sexually fulfilled, there will be a lot of cases of extramarital affairs, which will continue to bring embarrassment to the church. I also want to advocate that it is true that not all pastors are counselors, but I want to advocate sexual education and sexual enlightenment for leadership of the church, for all pastors. Because some pastors, because they themselves are not educated, they are not enlightened in this regard, they are not being helpful. They are not able to give adequate help to people who are passing through these challenges. So I will advocate that leaders, church leaders, should also be given proper sexual education and enlightenment. And finally, I will advocate that we organize more of talks like these, seminars and enlightenment programs, even on Sundays, not just during the weekend, but it is on Sundays that many of our members are around. We can teach for 3, 4, 5 Sundays in a series, a month on this. And I want to encourage Pastor Jeff to please keep on this good work. And maybe next time we need to invite many of our members to join, because this will be helpful. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate. Yes, Dr. Pamela, I'm here.
Yes. Let me just add to what the pastors have said.
All right.
See, I tell my clients and I tell people who listen to me, I am a Christian, but you will not come to my clinic, my psychology clinic, and I tell you, let us hold hands and agree on this issue. I will never do that.
Yes, it's unprofessional.
And I make it plain, I'm a Christian. If you have financial issues, you go to your banker. You have spiritual issues, you go to your pastor. You know, I have priests on speed dial, I have pastors on speed dial, I have my Muslim friends who have their imams on speed dial. You go to them, you don't come to me with spiritual issues. I'm saying this to emphasize subject matter experts. A prophet is not recognized in his own home. So sometimes maybe these pastors, when they have programs, the members already see them finish. So if you invite speakers to your church, it will help. And like he said about leadership, if the leadership do not understand this, they will not be able to escalate it to their members. Now, in my own case, the invitations I'm getting nowadays were not shocking to me. I'm just so excited about it. I'm talking about priests inviting me to their parishes, apart from my own parish, of course, where I speak regularly, but priests inviting me to their parishes to speak. In fact, one of them surprised me so much. He booked me 3 months before his event. And I'm like, Father, what? He said he doesn't want to hear that I'm not available on the date they've chosen for their event. So he booked, paid my way, paid me everything, and gave me accommodation because it was an evening event. I'm talking about him being intentional about having this for his parishioners. Now, next weekend, I'm going to speak at a church event. And as a suggestion to you, to pastors, don't carry a placard and say you want to talk about sex. Because sex is a taboo topic, you will lose some interested parties or people you want to be part of it. Do a program, call it any beautiful name, but one of your speakers will be a subject matter expert who will now present the case. They can't run away, they're already there. Can have a couples hangout, couples dinner, couples outing, some fun thing you're going to have. Don't make it a formal, rigid thing that, oh, no, no. And if you invite me to your church, with all due respect, I won't quote scripture. I don't be pastor, I don't go school, I don't have any theology training. The only scripture I know are the ones that they taught me is on the school, the one I get in church regularly. So by the time I come for your event, you have already laid your background, you have quoted your scripture, you have done everything spiritual. When I come, if I have to talk, a penis is a penis, a vagina is a vagina. I don't sugarcoat anything.
Yeah, I think some churches have grown. Yeah, some churches have grown to that level. Yes.
Yes. So if you have this kind of mindset, then you'll be able to have this thing introduced subtly. But if you go with a sledgehammer, you must listen. You must listen. People will say, Pastor, maybe Pastor is Nankana. Pastor.
All right. Thank you so. Thank you very much. So I have some question here. Somebody asked a question about age difference. Are there age difference? Does age difference affect sex between couples? That is one. What factors could make a spouse no longer, okay, Dr. Remusa answer that. How does a couple that has been enjoying sex handle the situation in which they had to be apart for some years as a result of getting new job, traveling for further studies, career, and other things? How can they get their groove back? That's the second question.
Dr. Damisa answered a question about kissing. I want to just shed more light on that. Sometimes a spouse rejects a kiss from the other spouse because of built-in anger. Because of built-in anger, you know, there's some form of I don't want you because of ABCD things you have done. You know, in addition to what he has said about maybe the breath or the hygiene is poor, but sometimes it's a form of, oh, I don't want to kiss him because kissing is a gateway. Once you start kissing somebody, the guards are down. I mean, it leads to other things. It's not like they're having gateway drugs. Once you start kissing, so once the wife admits and allows you to kiss, other things will follow because she doesn't want the end product of that kiss. So she's not denying you kiss. She's not denying you the kiss. She's denying you the end product of that kiss, which is the sex. She doesn't want to have the sex. So she doesn't want you to open that gateway. At all. Don't come near it. Yes, it's psychological. So we want to find out what is the problem. Why are you denying him kiss? So you now find out other series of things which we have to assess and sort out to have the kiss going to end up where we're going to. And also mention something about dyspareunia. Sometimes dyspareunia, when I assess for sexual pain, I find out, when does this pain occur? Is it before intercourse? Is it during intercourse? Or is it after intercourse? If it's before intercourse, it might be a case of anxiety. You know, she's freaking out. The muscles are tense. She doesn't want penetration. Finally, the man cannot even penetrate because she has closed up. If it's during, maybe she's not well lubricated, and she's not ready. So by the time there's penetration, the vaginal walls are bruised. So she has pain. If it's afterwards, sometimes when women have stay in a sexual position and they don't know how to control the abdominal muscles, especially when we have this one we call doggy style. During penetration, she traps air or wind. So you find out that thing hurts. I speak both from practice and from experience. So now I have to give you a technique to control your abdominal walls to prevent you trapping wind that causes pain afterwards. So you find out that women here can bear me witness. After that, sometimes you start passing out gas after sexual intercourse because of that air. So we have to understand. So that's why we do a lot of assessment. That's why I ask a lot of questions. So it's not just, penis, vagina come together. No, a lot of things are happening in the back end for this to be successful.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Damisa, I saw your hand up, sir.
Okay, actually, I think there was a jam. I was trying to respond to the issue on age.
Okay.
So my system was freezing.
age.
So I didn't know that the doctor was responding. You found out that our parents didn't go to school, but they were very knowledgeable in a strict sense. You found out that in those days, when you bring a girl to marry, they always ask you the age difference because they know that there's age difference. That's why most time marriages, when they say the man must be at least 10 years older, but the point is that age do have role to play. Check it very well. I've seen 5, 3, 4, 5 couples who married the girl very young, especially when the man is in his 30s and he married the girl at 18, 19. By 30, she has finished all giving birth to her 4, 5 children. Now at 30, 31, that is now when she is now, let me say, sexually liberated. Her mind is now ready for sex, and the man is in his 60s. So there's a disparity. So age difference between couple also affect their sexual orientation and sexual perception. When there's too much gap between a couple, it could, I'm using the word could as a key word, it could lead to different sexual preferences. That is why communication remains a key part in sexual fulfillment. Now, another area that age can affect sex between a couple is also the area of discovery. The man, for example, a woman who is in her late 40s, who is entering menopause, may start getting into mood swing. Mood swing can start coming in, hormonal issues. And don't forget that the man is 10 years older than her or 8 years older than her. The woman is in her 40s, late 40s. The man has finished paying school fees. So now his mind is at rest. The woman is entering menopause. So there's a disparity again. The man is more relaxed now. After all, no more child is coming, but the woman is entering menopause. So those are part of areas where age can come in. That's why couple need to communicate. Couple need to relate. Another area is that a woman who is having a lot of pressure, maybe who have teenage daughters, teenage sons who are having crisis. The man may want sex, but the woman's mind is now focused on her teenage children who are having problem in their school, who are having drug issue. We didn't talk about drug. Drug is becoming an issue even in marriages now.
Yeah.
Woman consume drug for blood pressure, heart substance abuse. So those are areas that we need to look into. Another area that age affects sex is the area of generational perception. If the age between couple is too varied, sexual perception, societal pressure can come in. So those are areas I said, let me just chip it in to
All right.
contribute to that discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. So this other question, how does couple that have been enjoying sex handle the situation in which they have to be apart for some years as a result of getting new job, traveling for further studies, etc.? How can they get their groove back? Dr. Pamela, how can they get their groove back?
I was already laughing before you called me. Yes, I like the fact that
So a minute, just a minute, ma. Please, if you have questions, just either you raise your hand or just type them. We have just less than 15 minutes to go. Thank you, ma. Go on, ma.
Okay, I want to believe that's a man. I guess that's Babatunde. Okay, I like the fact that he says the couple had been enjoying sex before. You know, Dr. Adamisa keeps emphasizing communication. From my second master's research, among the when ranked, the 3 factors that cause marital conflict are in no particular order: communication pattern, third-party interference, and sexual dissatisfaction. So communication is there. The fact that you have been enjoying sexual intercourse before means that your communication pattern is very good. Now, transit that communication into your transition when you're not physically together. You can make phone calls. Thank God now that we have video calls. You can make calls regularly. You can make video calls. You can still be talking. Even when you were together, you can agree with me that it is not every day you engage in sexual activity. Sometimes just talking to each other, you are satisfied. Sexual intimacy or marital intimacy does not have to be penetrative sex every time. Just talking to each other can bring so much satisfaction. And then for the time you are together, you can now have your physical penetration. But you keep those fires burning by constantly talking to each other. As I speak, my husband is not in Lagos with me, but every day, every morning, when he wakes up, either if he wakes up before me, you hear good morning there, you know, you greet me good morning, I respond, and then of course we pray together and talk and gist. And in between the day, we call each other. Then every evening, we run each other through what we have done for the day, our activities for the day.
Yeah.
That way you're always talking
Closing
to each
the
other.
gaps. Yeah, closing the gaps.
And then, you know, the children know, my children know that there's a difference between when you are talking to mommy or when I'm talking to my husband. You understand? So either daddy, go and call your wife, or mommy, or your husband you want to go and sleep. As daddy calls you, so they know if you have that kind of relationship, having sexual intercourse physically, when life happens that makes you people stay apart, and you'll still continue, okay, until such a time that you are physically together. But don't let the fires die down because you are not physically together. No, continue the communication. Yes.
Thank you. There's a question here, Dr. Damisa. Does menopause affect a woman's response to intimacy or sex?
Yes.
Does menopause?
Yes, I think I've touched that a little.
Yes.
One of the hallmarks in menopause is estrogen hormone reduces. The estrogen is the hormone or chemical that, let me say, promote the femaleness in a woman. How well a woman is receptive to sex is based on estrogen and other things. So during menopause, estrogen level reduces. Why do people enjoy intimacy? Following communication, your body is receptive, your guards are down, you lubricate, you feel wet. Even when you are with somebody you love, some women will tell you that just being with you makes me wet. That means that one, the intimacy is already, there's a connection. There's already body chemistry. They'll tell you, when I'm with you, when I talk to you, I have hard on the part of the man. There's already intimacy being formed, if not checked, if not directed appropriately. So in women for menopause, but during menopause, that estrogen hormone is almost out of the system. Of course, it tapers down. So you find out that it means that the wetness in the vagina becomes difficult or reduced. That means they are now dry. So what happens is that While the craving is there, we always advise that couple experiencing that could start using lubricant like KY gel, and the other lubricants, of course, they are not irritants or less irritant to the skin. They are not, they are colorless, odorless. They help lubrication. So to that extent, menopause can affect a woman's sexual response. And again, for people that don't want to use lubricants or give prolonged time for foreplay, if the man, don't forget that the man's erection is time bound. The man gets impatient, he wants to penetrate because, one, again, a woman going to menopause, you know, looking at Africa context, where husbands are supposed to be older than than the woman. If a woman is entering menopause, that means her husband is already in her 50s or 60s. So the strength of the erection is also questionable. So you want to penetrate with the little energy he has.
Sharp.
And when he penetrates and the walls are dry, there's bruises. When there are bruises, next time, the first response to pain is to flee. So naturally, when there is pain, you avoid. So the woman starts sleeping in the other room of the children that the children are vacated. Don't forget that now the children are grown, they're in body house. And in some cases, menopause has come in, emptiness has come in. So there's extra room to move into. The man begin to think, my woman has become stubborn. You start refusing. So all those vagaries they're all jumbled together to say that menopause can affect a woman's response to sex or intimacy. However, there's a solution: communication, patience, and again, you find out that with age, women's love language changes. In fact, everybody, but more in women, love language of a woman changes. You find out that a woman that wants act of service as love language, as age comes, all she wants is quality time. So the more you stay at home with her, the more she's reassured that she's still beautiful. And don't forget that menstruation has an impact on a woman. Menstruation makes a woman think I'm a woman. So when a woman stops menstruating, that womanhood in her, she start feeling, I'm losing my charm. I'm losing my charm. So the fear of losing our female charm begin to, you start showing forth in her communication. Sometimes they get hostile. Sometimes they get angry unnecessarily. You start having mood swings. So it's a whole biology of complex that we cannot go into today.
Yeah,
so let me just suffice to say that menopause can affect intimacy, but it can be controlled. It can be limited with communication, with training, learning, and also learning from other people. Thank you.
Yeah,
Please,
Dr.
let me add something. Yeah, let me add something, please.
Yes.
We also have this preconceived notion that once a woman enters menopause, sex
has finished.
How did Pastor John put it? That
Jerusalem
the keys to Jerusalem. Yeah, they close.
It's an error. It's an error.
Yes. Some women have that idea that I've entered menopause. The door has closed by itself. No, that's why I always emphasize that I'm 58. I mean, even though I'm menopause late, but I'm now a full-blown menopause, and I still enjoy sex. Dr. Damisa mentioned something about hormones. Yes, the hormones drop, but it's also called hormone therapy.
Yes.
You can do immunization and know which of the hormones is low. And of course, it can bear me witness, it can be treated. We treat, when it comes to menopause and sex, what I do, I treat symptoms. What are the symptoms you're having? Is it dry vagina? Is it this? You treat those symptoms. So let's not shut down because of menopause. Let's treat the symptoms, because menopause does not mean that life has ended. It's just a phase in life. Yes.
That's not post.
So yes, there's no post. You treat the symptoms and overcome those challenges and still enjoy. The bottom line is to enjoy sexual intercourse. So whatever is standing between you and that goal, we clear it, and then the Jerusalem door, it will come wide open.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. I just want to have one statement from everybody as we close. I'll start from Pastor Sam Afolabi. Yes. One sentence.
Yeah, I want to appreciate this enlightenment program. It has been very rich. It is very rich and loaded. So I want to say more grace to Pastor Jeff, and we are looking for more of this, and I appreciate all the panelists. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Pastor K, you still with us?
Yes, I did hear. Well, I just want to say big thank you to you and to the two docs. I mean, today has been very, very enlightening for me as a person. And I've also gained quite a lot of knowledge that helps, in also helping people when you're dealing with issues like this. And quite a lot of knowledge also about the male and female physiology. And thank you very much. I think we should do this more often. And I'm going to be contacting the two docs at different times to actually see how we can invite you to our churches. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Before I get to Dr. Damisa, somebody said something. If schools can introduce sex education to their curriculum, undermining age of their pupils, maybe without spiritual backing, why then do churches so relax in bringing this to the front burner, especially in this era of so many divorces in the church as a result of sex? So we have promised to start addressing that in our churches now. It's never too late. People are getting married. People are entering into so many situations in their life. So thank you, Mr. Michael Moses. The church, these people who are here, their churches are going to start taking things up. And let it start from us too. Thank you. Yeah, Dr. Damisa, yes. Final word, sir.
Yes. Sorry, there's a question here. I don't know, a question here. I don't know time. He said, Dr. Damisa Pamela, please, what will you advise to help couples best enjoy sexual fulfillment as a result of their respective differences in preferred time or place of sex? Time and place of sex.
Okay, that's a private question.
Yes. So
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So read the question again, sir.
I think that depends. He said, please, what will you advise to help couples best enjoy sexual fulfillment as a result of their respective differences in preferred time or place of sex? Maybe whether night or day, whether
kitchen or bedroom or corridor,
bedroom or standing, or whether lying. Well, Pastor Jeff, you have the anointing for that. I'll leave that to you.
No, let me push it to Pamela, because the thing is that there are preferences in sex also, but we have been mentioning communication. If we have communicated, we will know how to help each other in terms of preferences. Some preferences, some people never agree on some. For example, oral sex. Some couples have never agreed on oral sex. And if I'm going to counsel them, if you have not agreed, don't do it until you agree on it. So communication. Where to have sex, how to have it, is God has given you that responsibility. No pastor can tell you this is how to do it. No psychologist will tell you this is how to do it. But we only give you counsel, information. Yes, over to you, Pamela. Yes, over to you, Pamela.
You see, yes, there is nowhere, there's no book that is written, there's no law, there's no rule that says sex must be on top of a bed at 9 p.m. with the curtains drawn, with the doors, double. There's no rule like that.
Missionary style for missionaries, spiritual style.
There's no rule. The basic thing is that both of you need to relax and agree. When the feeling moves, most times when the man initiates sex, you have to carry your wife along. You don't just initiate sex like one of the speakers said, you already have a man already has an erection before he wants to have sexual intercourse. Meanwhile, the woman is thinking about 1,001 other things. So you have to bring your wife to where you are.
Psyche.
It's psychologically and physically, let her understand what you want to do. Don't just say because you have an erection, you must eat. No. And sometimes when a partner, let me just focus on the woman, insists on, the curtains must be drawn, the bed must be this, then we're not talking about some other psychological issues. Why is she feeling like that? Why is she behaving like that? We're talking about an anxiety disorder here. Why is he anxious? What's making her afraid? These are things we have to probe and find out. Okay, so but there's no hard and fast rule that it must be on top of the freezer, on top of it. No, just relax and enjoy this thing. Don't make it so rigid that, oh yes, this is how it must be. It's not a straight jacket thing. Let's just relax and enjoy this thing.
Thank you very much. I'd like to appreciate.
But in addition, they should avoid kitchen when they are frying plantain.
Safety first.
Or boiling water. Safety first.
Safety first.
CPR or safety first before you become a victim.
Thank you. Thank you,
bless you.
Dr.
Thank you.
Pamela, Dr. Damisa, Dr. Samuel Afolabi, Pastor K. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. I have quite a lot of people here today. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate you so much. Thank you very much for coming. Okay, I'm gonna. This is gonna be on. It's on YouTube. Sorry, what's this? It's on Facebook. And if you go to my Facebook, Jeff Olagbemiga, you can see a replay there, so that you will know in case you miss out anything. So I'd like to appreciate you so much for opportunity of hosting you today. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And all the speakers, was wonderful meeting you guys.
Thank you
Yes,
very much,
so
everybody.
I will share numbers. I will share everybody's number with each other so that we can continue in linking up. Thank you. I appreciate.
Thank you.